we're going to talk about respect, love, and respect.
All right.
Respect. And that what it mean to me. Respect. Take care. TC. I think respect goes a long way when it comes to love because without respect, I don't think you have the capacity to be able to love.
I agree. I agree with that. Making sure that your love and happiness, making sure you love yourself. Now we're talking about, love and respect because if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect anyone else, like he says.
When you
So it,
get yourself one of them things called a wife and she ain't even looked at your notes. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Let's talk about it. With the Thomases. Yeah. Come take a moment, sit down, unwind. We're breaking it down. We're speaking our minds. Real conversations in a love-filled space. Let the vibe touch your heart in the perfect place. Yeah. We're lifting you up. Yeah. Every story we share, from laughter to tears, you know we truly care. Let's talk about it. With the Thomases tonight. Let's talk about it. Everything's gonna be alright. Real love, real truth, real life on the line. Every voice, every heart, yeah, we let it shine. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Oh, let's talk about it. Toast. Cheers to everybody. We are back with another episode of Let's Talk About It with the Thomases.
good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good
Ooh,
evening.
nice, tasty adult beverage.
Tasty adult beverage.
Mm.
Today
Mm.
on Let's Talk About It with the Thomases, we're going to talk about respect,
Ooh.
love, and respect.
All right.
Respect. Find out what it mean to me. Respect. Take care. TC. Suck it to me. Suck it. Oh, I'm sorry. I got lost in the moment. Y'all. I got lost in the moment. So when you think about respect, what is Tonya's definition of respect?
Mm. My definition of respect, my personal definition,
Mhm.
is to give what you expect to receive.
Okay.
Kindness. So we're in a different day,
Right.
and some people just aren't being very kind to one another.
Not at all.
And no matter race, sex, religion, whatever, a person, a human being, you should be able to be kind to.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I think we are in a time, in an era where a lot of hatred is being fueled. People are really getting brave,
Behind a keyboard.
not just behind the keyboard. I mean, I've seen videos where they've been brave. However, their bravery resulted in checking in at the SmackDown hotel. Um, I agree. I agree with the personal definition of respect. To me, respect is just honoring one another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, respecting their race, their religion,
Mm-hmm.
their creed,
if it's not implemented on you, if it doesn't impact you in any way, then why not respect it? If they're not trying to push it on you, why not respect it? But Merriam-Webster's definition of respect, respect is a foundational social value and attitude, a feeling of esteem, admiration, or regard for individuals, their rights, and their dignity. Key elements include recognizing inherent human worth, valuing diversity, empathy, and active listening. Showing respect involves treating others with courtesy, honoring boundaries, and valuing their opinions, even during arguments. Or let me say, even during disagreements, not arguments, even during disagreements. I misread, but even during disagreements. So it's kind of in a nutshell, kind of what you and I both described as respect. I think respect goes a long way when it comes to love, because without respect, I don't think you have the capacity to be able to love.
Hmm. I agree. I agree with that 100%. I
So,
agree.
so, I just want the viewers to know. I'm pretty sure you probably, by this time you've already saw episode 4. We're on episode 5 now, episode 4. I'm pretty sure you probably got you a little giggle. Some of the things that I was talking about in episode 4, my wife looked all shocked and I'm like, why are you shocked? We told the people that we were going to speak real, raw truth. Now, let me put this disclaimer out there. Again, this is an adult conversation podcast. This is for adults seeking relationships. This is for adults seeking advice. This is for adults. We want to touch, we may in the future. I'm not going to, say that we won't, because there are some things that I know there's some wisdom and some knowledge that I have that I can pass along to the younger generation. But right now, I want to focus on the adults, because the adults are hurting. And when the adults are hurting, the children hurt. So let's focus on, getting the adults the conversations that they need. I'm not saying that it can heal you. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I think from my experience, from my personal experiences, from the things that I've experienced in life, I think I can give advice. I think I can give some wisdom,
Mhm.
some steps to take. Did I make great decisions in life? No. I mean, but when you get on the other side of 50 and you look back, you're like, man, okay, these next 50 years, God willing, I got to make better decisions. And so that's why Ty and Tonya are here, because we're here to try and help you make better decisions.
Yeah, that's my whole one of my whole reasons is because I'm not ashamed or scared to share what I've been through
Mhm.
that may help other people. Because, like you say, we don't always make great decisions.
Right.
We think they're great when we're making them. Sometimes you scathe and don't get harmed. Sometimes you get harmed, and sometimes you scream about it. Sometimes you don't.
Mhm.
The worst harm is internal harm and
Right.
not taking care of yourself
Right.
and not loving yourself, which is what we talked about last episode. And there are some things and decisions that unfortunately make us have to rebuild
True.
as an individual. And therefore, some of the things that Ty and I talk about, how communication that we've talked about is very, very important.
Right.
Making sure that your love and happiness, making sure you love yourself. Now we're talking about, love and respect, because if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect anyone else, like he says.
When you
So
get yourself one of them things called a wife and she ain't even looked at your notes,
yeah.
she can start speaking on subjects that you got in your notes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That just, ooh, Lord have mercy.
Was that in your notes?
Huh?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's in my notes, baby. But hey, it's okay. We're a team. We're one. So when we can be one and our minds can just, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They can speak like that. That lets you know the oneness that we have, because you just said that. And we were talking about respect, and then there's types of respect. What type of respect is there? The most common type of respect would include self-respect,
Mm-hmm.
valuing oneself. So we're here to let you know that if nobody else has told you, you're important.
Mm-hmm. Very.
You are very important. If you ever thought about harming yourself because of a woman, if you ever thought about harming yourself because of a man, hey, listen, Ty and Tonya love you. You know what I'm saying? You have purpose on your life and you have to value yourself. It doesn't matter what social media thinks about you. It doesn't matter what the people around you, the people on your job think about you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to respect yourself enough to understand that you are worth being here, that you have value. Somebody is depending on you. Somebody is depending on your next great decision. Not bad decision, your great decision. See, I believe in speaking things positively into existence. And I really feel like this podcast will really help someone. And it doesn't matter the viewership that we get. You know, a lot of people look at, oh, well, I didn't go viral, or I didn't do this a certain way, or it didn't make the impact that I think that it was going to make. If I impact, or I'm not going to say I'm so used to, doing this thing on my own that now I have a partner. If we impact, so if we impact one person,
Mm-hmm.
I'm satisfied with this podcast, you know?
Absolutely. Because I think everything is life experience. If you can impact, if you're willing to share a story or willing to share knowledge or experience, because all stories are just people's experiences.
Mhm.
Nobody, sits down and writes, just for most things you see, most things you read come from experience or a story somewhere down the road, whether it's something growing up or, whatever the case is. But, we're growing up in a different day and time to where people are looking in unprecedented places for respect, and you
Mhm.
shouldn't have to go looking for it.
Facts.
I can remember growing up, my dad always, dwelled in me about showing respect for yourself,
Mhm.
meaning by the way you dress, or
Yes.
not to try to look older than you are when you're, out there, in the crowd, or, whatever the case is. There's a lot of things that he would instill, and he may have thought he was talking to air sometimes, but no, I definitely listened, and I
Mhm.
and I credit a lot of my that I'm very proud to say unfast paced life. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I, did what I wanted to do. I enjoyed my younger years in life, but what I will tell you is that not all of my decisions were wise ones. Thank goodness that I had better guidance or whatever the case is, or I was self-aware, or I would listen, you know, so, I just feel like respecting yourself is exactly where it starts. Respecting yourself, then you love yourself and all of that, but you have to put it in an order, you have to have an order about the way that you do things.
Mhm. Mhm. So I wanted to share a text message that I got from a close friend of mine. I'm not gonna, now they can reveal themselves in the comments if they want to. They'll know when I share this text. And I'm paraphrasing the text, but we were just talking about life in general, how we grew up, and we had a period where, and it was a long period, years, where we didn't communicate, we didn't speak, but we picked up. And that's, first of all, that's respect. Um, that's true friendship, regardless of what happened, and it was a fault of my own. See, as I get older, accountability starts to set in, and you have to take accountability for your actions. Being a man, being a man.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not denying that. But sometimes if you don't have accountability, who helps you gain that accountability?
Would you let me tell my story?
Sure.
See,
Sure.
see. Get you one of them things called a wife. They interrupt you when you're trying to tell a story because you ain't getting to the good part fast enough.
Proceed.
Get you one of them things called a wife. It ain't but a week. I'm trying to tell you.
And it's not.
We joke, but I mean, and we'll get into that. But we were having a conversation. Made me lose my train of thought. I'm old. I can't. I lose my train of thought. I got to. You know what I'm saying? And so we were talking, and he shared this text message, and he was talking about. Well, we were talking about the concert, and we were talking about a lot of other stuff. And he was just talking about how happy he was for me now that I have the relationship that I have, right? With the wife that I have and everything like that. So when we go back to accountability, because she wants me to talk about that, she wants me to let y'all know that, um, you know, when you got a good spouse, you got a good. I'm saying for the fellas, for the men. See, I can't speak on the aspect of women because I don't know. So I'm speaking from the aspect of a man, from fellas. Hey, bruh, when she on you about something, and I'm not gonna say that she was on me, but if she's speaking to you respectfully, calm manner, calm tone about something, take heed to it. You've already been told because God has already spoke to you. Hey, you need to. And then sometimes when you hard headed, okay, he ain't gonna listen to me, but let me put this on her heart to speak this to So reconciliation took place. Now there was, and I'm getting off track. I'm gonna come back to that. So in this message, he was telling me how happy he was for me and my wife. Um, and he was like, I know this is but what you've been wanting and needed. And he said, this is truly your soulmate. This is what I love. He said, this is truly your soulmate because she lets T be T. In other words, she lets me be me. It goes back to respect. That's a part of respect. Let your partner be your partner. Hey, you know what? If you don't like those things, make it known that you don't like those things. If you don't like those things, don't enter into that relationship or that marriage. You know what I'm saying? She says she lets T be T and she loves her some T and respects your vision and not your income. Well, a lot of you don't know me. Those of you that do don't understand how blessed I am to have somebody fully support my vision. Have somebody fully believe in, I look around and I've shared this with you, a lot of the times where I'll be like, you know what? So many times in life, I have supported others. And when it comes to me, nobody supported me. What do you say?
You got me.
She says, you got me. And man, let me tell you something. When you got somebody like that, that's all you need. That's all you need. I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 this year. Man, I'll go climb Mount Everest. Now, I might need a couple of oxygen tanks and, a little bit of assistance. But I'm just saying, when you have that behind you and then when you have friends, and we're talking about respect, y'all. We're talking about respect. There are some of you who have ended good relationships. And I'm not talking about from an intimate standpoint, from a male, female. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, your best friend or, somebody who, when you look back over the years, remember in the last episode when I told my wife, I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell. This homie right here, when some stuff was going down that wasn't right, guess what? He told.
Mm-hmm.
He told. Now, I've had people, because they know my heart and they know who I am, but now I understand why they didn't tell. But in that moment, I felt like Tupac. He knew. And he owed me more than to just sit by and let me find out some other way. He knew. See what I'm saying? But as I grew older, reconciliation comes by. It's a form of respect. You got to respect boundaries. You know what I'm saying? You got to respect others' opinions. You got to respect others' thoughts. Life has a funny way of teaching you how to respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the it is so funny that he talks about it because I have seen a better glow in him because I know he missed his friend and I know his friend missed him. And mind you, I've only FaceTime with this individual, talked to him, haven't met him in person yet. I'm very excited to meet him, hopefully in a couple next coming months in person. But I feel like that they needed that at that time, whenever, but they both had to be ready for it, and that's something that I'll say that, reconciliation is important if that person is important to you.
Mhm.
Sometimes the person may not be important enough to get it. I don't know. And for me, I'm a Taurus, Taurus the bull. I'm very stubborn,
Stubborn.
and I will admit it, but I'm not beyond being told that you're wrong about something, or that's wrong or whatever, because guess what? Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
True.
But I think it was a couple episodes that we both had our Tupac shirt on.
Mhm.
Only God can judge me. I'm not worried about, it's one thing my husband will tell you. When you relieve yourself of being worried about the opinions of what other people think about you, my, it's amazing. So I've always been in that category. I've never cared or let it bother me what somebody else thinks, because I'm going to be me. Now, I could be me respectfully. I could be me.
Lord Jesus.
Um,
Ain't got no money, y'all.
either way, I'm going to be me. And the level of respect someone gives me will denote the level of whether you get Tanya or whether you get LaTanya. And you better pray for LaTanya every time, because sometimes Tanya, she don't wait for explanation.
Y'all pray for me. Y'all.
But I've gotten better in my
Y'all ain't
older
praying.
age. I've gotten better. And I say that to say that I'm very transparent, and I'm a very true friend in all my relationships. If I rock with you as a friend, I rock with you as a friend. If we get to a disappointing situation or something and we can't resolve it, it is what it is. I'm a firm believer in wanting to discuss it, but it takes two people to discuss.
True.
Or, you got to come to a resolution. And some people you find just don't want a resolution. So you have to move on and move past that. But as long as that I know, and myself and my person, that I gave my best, I gave my all, I did what I should have did, I've learned through him to pray about it and move on. Don't let it bother you.
True.
And that's something that I think it's a subject coming up. My space, faith, and my spiritual level has definitely grown. So you got to be well rounded.
And so, we're going to continue to talk about the types of respect. We said self-respect. Again, if you notice, there is a pattern in everything we say. It starts with self.
Mhm.
It starts with self. Got to stop playing this blame game. Oh, so and so did this, so and so. And it very well could be true. How did you react? How did you take the situation? And so, self-respect is when you value yourself. Oh my gosh. When you it goes back to what she says, when you get delivered of the opinions of others, that's self-value.
Mhm.
I value myself. It doesn't matter what you say. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of being. I know my potential. A lot of you people don't like that word potential, but that's how you grow, with
Mhm.
potential. But another form of respect is respect for others, treating them with dignity and respect for property, rules, or environment. Specific forms include recognition respect, which is acknowledging someone's moral standing or rights. We live in a time where it's 2026. I'm going to keep this raw. I'm going to keep this real. Homosexuality has been around. It's just gotten to a point to where now they're comfortable enough within themselves to come out. Here's the problem that I have. Problem that I have is that most people don't respect them as individuals. And I feel like if they're not coming on to you and they're not, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're not trying to, because they know.
Mhm.
I mean, they will be. Look, I've told my wife. There's been times where I've seen homosexual men and they've been attracted to me. I'm sorry, bruh. I love women. Matter of fact, I got a wife. But I appreciate the compliment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shoot, I appreciate that I look good to another man, but you can't tell me nothing. It don't bother me because that's their preference. I respect your preference. I just don't roll with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't get down like that. I'm not knocking you, but again, this day and time specifically, we have leaders in place.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't. Is it affecting you? It's not bothering you. They go to work. They do their job. They do what they want to do. They live their life. They love one another. Hell, they love better than some heterosexual people. And you got a problem with it? And then on top of that, you got the nerve to call yourself a Christian. To say that you love like, now you don't love like Christ. Because I suggest that you go back and read that book that's got him in it. There's the evaluative and appraisal respect, where you admire someone's skills, their achievements, or their character. That's a form of respect. See, a lot of times we put respect in a box and we make it one dimensional. And respect is bigger than one dimensional. One of the biggest things, and I don't know, this will probably be the first time that I've shared this with you. And what I admire about your immediate family, your mom, your dad, Sierra, I say your daughter, but she our daughter now, but I'm just saying, I admire the respect part of the family, regardless of whose opinion is right, whose opinion is wrong. Now, I'm gonna go on and let y'all know.
Thank you.
My mother in love is always right. I don't care what y'all say. Yeah, you go argue with your mama.
Mhm.
Y'all gonna understand,
Yeah.
regardless of what's going on, her opinion right. She gonna have the last say so, and we gonna respect it.
Mhm.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah,
I
you're right.
know.
You're
I
right.
know
You're
I'm
right.
right. And I think one of the things I kind of didn't observe that until, further on in the relationship was, and what I've started to see with you is that you've become non-argumentative with her. Listen, she right, even when she not right. She right. You feel what I'm saying? That's respect.
But what's my favorite thing when I do, I do show the respect. But when I need her to know that she needs to listen to the other side, well,
Oh
I be
yeah.
like, hold up, partner. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Listen, I bow out of that because
Yeah,
listen,
I know you do.
listen. Let me tell y'all something. It was one Thanksgiving that I feared for my life. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even think I was gonna escape alive. And when they say that two women can't cook in the same kitchen, do not put this woman and her mama in the same kitchen. Do you understand? I didn't think we were gonna get no macaroni and cheese, no yams, no nothing, because I thought it was gonna be in the flow. Y'all not praying.
Yeah. But we've gotten better. She just stays in the living room now. And let me do it. She just
No.
stays in the living room and let me do it.
Gonna slide that
But
back a little bit, player.
no, sir. But I think to respect, you got to give respect, you got to earn respect. And you know what I hate to hear, even though I do understand you got to earn respect, I don't like to see a person be nasty or act like they're better or bigger than someone that they really don't know and then have the nerve to say, well, they ain't earned my respect. Well, hell, they don't know you. What have you given them? You got some people that just because they might think that they're older or my position is higher, that you got to come at them a whole different way or something. Or we're newlyweds. We've been together for, 4 years. We've been married less than a year. But at the same time, you have to hear, oh, you know, I got 10 years on you. Okay, what that mean? I've accomplished more in 9 months, 6 months than some of you have in 25 years.
So,
My parents will be married 50.
well, how old are you?
Don't worry about how old I am. 52 years this and together over 55, but they will be married 52 years at the end of this month.
Child.
And trust me, I have seen it.
I know you've seen it. I've seen a little bit.
I
I
but
tip out
no
with the
matter
church finger.
what, they they they're transparent. They don't hold no bars. They say what they're gonna say. They don't have any cruel intentions on either or the other.
Mhm.
But the other one is gonna make sure the other one's hurt.
Right.
Now, if it's and they're at a point to now where if it's a self like a I don't want to call it like a self check thing, but they know, oh well, that's just me. That's just the way I feel. That the other person, not to say won't respond to it, but they've been together for so long that it's not even a really an argument. That's just how they feel. That's just who they are, and they just move past that.
Mhm.
But I honestly think that for me, I feel like COVID and retirement have brought my parents closer together. That's my opinion. I feel like now that they're starting to travel more now, COVID messed up their retirement because they had so many plans to travel, but now they're starting to do a little bit more traveling. And I just think that the more time that they've spent together, I see them better. I think they talk more, other than just, dad being at work 14, 15 hours, come home, dinner's ready, talk for 30 minutes, an hour, he's ready to lay down and start his day back over. And, she's always respected that, and I think that with him being retired, I've been over there at times and I'm like, "What you doing?" "Oh, I'm just vacuuming, cleaning up." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And mom was like, "Yeah, he helped me out," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But when he worked, he didn't necessarily do it. And it's not because he didn't want to. He just didn't have time. I just that's just was understood. That's just what, she did or, whatever the case was. But I feel like I don't think the number of years under one's belt necessarily should say that you have the right or don't have the right to give advice. I know people, like I say, I know people that've been married longer than my parents.
Mhm.
Um, One of my mom's sisters, uh, her husband died last year, and I want to say it was 65 years together, I think. Maybe more than that, 60, 65 years. And she had another, they had just have longevity with their marriages. They just, they
Mhm.
just a different breed, I guess. I don't know. Um, but um, but not one of them will try to tell you, "Oh, I got this on you, I got that on you." They just give you the love, the care, and concern. And the one thing I love about my family is that you only get advice if you seek it. They're really, they might talk amongst themselves if they see something or whatever the case is, but they're just not gonna dip in your business like that. And if my mama get wind of it, they ain't gonna dip in my business at all. But that's just how marriage does have a value. And I think that it's worth everything that
Mm.
you as a couple and as an individual put in it with love and communication, love and respect. Um, it's just it's what you do for it.
So
It's what you do.
so again, respect and communication are the top keys. Um, and again, that's just showing respect. The ways that they're showing respect, they listen actively, active listening. We learned about active listening. If you've ever worked in a call center, that's going to be the number one thing that they drill in your head, active listening. But not just in a call center, active listening is important in life
Yeah.
generally because again, we touched on this. Don't listen to respond.
Mm.
Listen to understand and then respond. Because when you listen to respond, you weren't listening at all anyway. You already had an answer in your head, and it may not even be the answer that's needed in that situation. Another way that you show respect is by being polite, using
Mhm.
courteous language and manners with one another. So when you said that and you're talking about people earning respect, I think maybe not from the standpoint of how long you've been in a marriage, but I think age garners a level of respect. It doesn't matter. I've been taught you respect your elders.
Mhm.
Now, if the elders come off disrespectful, I get that. But because they are older than you, because they do have that, because I know that there are some people that, like you said, they will use that age barrier and be like, well, XYZ, I'm this. Oh, well, hold up, player.
Mhm.
Hold up. Now, I've been taught to respect you, but now you're not coming to me with a level of respect. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but I got to check you.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
All day long.
You know,
'Cause you know I do it.
I got to check you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And then, of course, value boundaries, respect physical space and privacy.
Mm.
Something you said, your family not gonna get in your business. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're not gonna get in your business. And that's a form of respect. You know
Mhm.
what? I don't care what I heard. I ain't gonna get in their business.
Mhm.
Well, and then like you said, because a lot of times, what will happen? Mom, listen,
Mhm.
mama something else.
And that's for all, not just our marriage, but several of my cousins are. Shoot, I don't think it's but a couple of us that are single, to be honest with you. But our parents just don't. They do not. And all of my cousins will vouch for that. That our parents just, I don't know. We can appreciate that we can go to them with something, and they'll give you the best they got, and but they don't try what you should or you better or you either. I have never heard that from my parents or any of my aunties.
And then of
Never,
course,
never.
um, continuing to show is accept differences,
Mhm,
acknowledge diverse perspectives without judgment. Here's
mhm,
one listen, I feel like you disrespect me when you don't do this. Be punctual.
mhm,
Respect others' time. When you waste my time, I'm gonna tell the story because I know she can tell the story.
mhm,
She's gonna vouch. She know what story I'm getting ready to tell. So, um, I had found this barber that
mhm,
was cutting my hair, but it seemed like every time I would show up for my appointment, he was always doing other stuff on the phone, chit chatting with other people that came in the barbershop. So, several times he did this and he did this. And I think this one particular time we were leaving to go to Charlotte for something.
mhm. Yeah.
And I went and she was like, oh, you didn't get your hair cut? I said, I'm just going to get my hair cut in Charlotte. Because when I went there, now you seen I was there, you was already running behind with the client that you had before me. I understand that. I'm very understanding of that. But then you knew that I was coming at a specific time, right? You knew that I was coming. And I'm not saying that someone is not supposed to eat, but now you're not even acknowledging that I'm there. You see what I'm saying? You're not acknowledging that I'm there. And then you on the phone with some chick that you fooling with. She come bouncing up in there and give you some food. You didn't even give me the courtesy to say, hey man, I hadn't had anything to eat. Do you mind if I go back here, grab a bite to eat, and then I'll get to you? You just grabbed yourself and went to the back. What'd I do?
Next thing I know, you was what? Dang, did somebody coming in the door? Coming in the door.
I left.
Yeah, you left.
Listen, my time is valuable. My time is very, very valuable. That's a commodity I can't get back.
Mhm,
I can go make some more money. I can't get my time back. So
mhm,
be punctual. Here's the benefits of respect. It fosters trust, safety, and healthy, productive relationships. Remember, everything that we talk about deals with relationships, whether it be husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, best friends.
mhm,
Respect fosters trust, safety, and healthy, productive relationships. It promotes a positive environment and reduces conflict. 4 years, no arguments. We had people ask, have y'all really been together for 4 years and not had an argument? Yes. We've been together for 4 years and not had an argument. Respect. RESPECT. That's reefer. You know what I'm saying?
Now, have we agreed on everything? Or, I mean, I just think we know each other well enough to know what he knows, what I'm not going to deal with or like, and same as for me. But he don't try to push me to feel the way he feel, and I definitely don't try to push him to feel the way he feels. You know, sometimes we've both taken one for the team. If it's something that we don't necessarily want to do, we don't say I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it. We
I
do
don't
it,
take nothing
but
back, but I'm playing.
we do it. But at the same time, it's a level, it's a level of respect.
But that's it.
So,
That's it.
but I got a
It's
question before
mhm.
we leave. Um, because it's something, you know, um, how do you feel now after the reconciliation? Do you feel like it was when I say worth it, do you feel like it was worth reconciling? How do you feel?
I think any relationship that's an important relationship is worth reconciling. Again, it takes a matter of growth, a matter of maturity to be like, you know what? We go back to everything goes back to self.
Mhm.
Where was I wrong in this situation? Yeah, I was wronged. And sometimes you may not have been wrong in that situation, but you still have to evaluate, you know what? Where was I wrong?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think, was it necessary? It was necessary for growth. Um, because sometimes you can be tight with somebody and you don't point out, you know what I'm saying? Some of the things that they may do wrong or some of the things that you ain't rocking with.
I know 100% of what you're saying.
So, you know what I'm saying? Because you're that close and then it could damage the relationship further than, what it was. So that separation and then that coming back together where we're more mature, you learn from it. If you don't learn from a situation, then, you're bound to repeat it. You're bound to repeat it. It wasn't just with him. There's other relationships where, again, it was me. You know what I'm saying? Even though I felt like this person was in a position and this person was saying, I can do this and I can do that. Well, I'm dependent on that. So when you didn't come through, I get upset, but he didn't have to because I put myself in that situation. So
Mhm.
how can I be mad at you for not coming through for me when I put myself in the situation?
Right.
You said you was going to get me out, but then you didn't get me out. So why would I end that relationship? That's on me.
Right.
So I got to be a man, be mature. You know what? I got to apologize and I got to reconcile. That's respect. I'm telling y'all, it's a whole lot less conflict when you don't have conflict in your life and you live a long time. You will live a long time. Again, it's been real, it's been raw, and it's been honest. Some conversations will change everything. Until the next episode, I'm Ty.
And I'm Tonya.
Peace.
Let's talk about it. Put the Thomases tonight. Let's talk about everything is gonna be alright. Real love, real truth, real life on the line. Every voice, every heart, yeah, we let it shine. Let's talk about it. Put the Thomases tonight.